Hi empaths, welcome back to my healing space and back to archetype work. Let's do another intuitive session. I'm going to clear the space, our auras, the cards, invoking angels, guides, compassionate ancestors, any beings of light who want to inform this reading for the most accurate, concise, helpful, resonant message that the listener, that's priority for the listener to hear at the time of watching this video. Beautiful. Let's go to the archetype cards by Carolyn Meese to see which archetype we're working with this week. Okay, we got the lover. The lover archetype. The light attributes: great passion and devotion, unbridled appreciation of someone or something. The shadow attributes: obsessive passion that harms others, self-destructive devotion. So integrating the lover aspect so that our affection and our love doesn't become charged and overwhelming, right? And so that we can also have that love for ourselves. Great passion and devotion. Let's pull some oracle cards to see what might help us integrate the lover archetype. There's a lot of cards in here. I have so many decks in here, all commingling. But it's exciting because there's a lot of variety. Okay. So we have Windfall is the first card. Windfall. So this makes me think when it rains, it pours, right? Maybe there's a lot of time in isolation and solitude, not really being attracted to anybody. And then all of a sudden, there's all these potential people that come in that reignites this passion, right? So maybe there's a time where you're not really investing any energy, or you feel like life doesn't have a lot of passion, right? Or you give into comfort, right? Instead of pursuing passion in life. Well, the next oracle card that comes up is Sun. S-O-N. Your son is watched over and protected as he explores his world. Well, to me, this card is about that integration or access of that childlike wonder, right? A little boy in his masculine energy might be seeking adventures, really curious and playful, taking risks. Like, see how the boy in this card is just tuning into nature, in awe of the frog and just playing. is that something that you lose touch with at times, right? When maybe that could help us get in touch with the passion, feeling supported, keep us grounded, right? Without getting into those comforting, repetitive, maybe even addictive cycles. Right? And then life gets turned on its head when we're attracted to somebody, right? That can be like this out of balance situation. And then we're getting the card affirmations. Affirmations. To lift up your thoughts and energy and to attract what you desire, use positive affirmations. So one of the affirmations, I do affirmation work every morning. I write out my affirmations. I write affirmations about my work, my body, relationships, how I feel about my life, right? And my location, and they're all feeling statements. Can we use affirmation work to create? And what affirmations are great for is to get in touch with the emotional state we'd like to create, the emotional resonance of what we want to create. Because we might think that when we get that future fixation, we might think that relationship's going to take care of this emotional need. And then I'll never have to create that again for myself. And that's erroneous thinking, right? Like a relationship's going to make me happy or bring me passion, and then I'll never have to create that for myself. That's not actually true or how it works. So can we look at that thinking? Right? Because the shadow of the lover is obsessive passion that harms others, or self-destructive devotion. Takes us out of ourselves, right? If we think this one person that we're attracted to, or passion in general, we put that on a pedestal, it might create some imbalance in life, and we might be following the wrong guide post, right? If we're following, when we're working on manifestation, we want to look at emotional resonance that we want to create. What is the end state, the end emotional state that we are seeking? What is the feeling state we're seeking? Because if we assume that a relationship is going to give us that feeling, if it does become manifest, it may not give us that feeling that we're seeking, right? It might not give us that end result. So we want to think of what is the emotional state? What is that emotional resonance that we're seeking? And can we create affirmations around that with feeling statements that end with or something better, right? Because we tend to limit ourselves in our thinking. So can we stay curious, like this sun here, right, who's in this state of curiosity and wonder? Can we remain curious about what it is that we're creating, instead of being attached to the outcome? And then use affirmations that focus on the emotional state that we're seeking. And then we have be the love you wish to receive. So be that love, right? Can you create love within yourself? Those who refresh others will themselves be refreshed. Proverbs chapter 11, verse 21. Be the love you wish to create. Be the love you wish to receive. So when we have this idea that it's outside of us, right, that this love and this passion that we're seeking is outside of us, That's where the imbalance happens. We have the card Go Now. Go Now. So this might be about, and it's the same image. Isn't that crazy? It's that same image of the man that's illuminated. So this might be about every morning tuning in, attuning to that state and sending it out, radiating it out. This brings to mind, I recently started shifting my thoughts at the gym when I'm working out. I used to have a critical voice in my ear pushing me, right? Pushing me to keep going. And it was critical. It was harsh. It was cruel. And I started shifting that to a loving voice, a kind voice, an encouraging, proud voice. Anytime I would finish an exercise that was really hard, I would show myself love. It was a more gentle, loving voice. And I started noticing I was hearing kind exchanges outside of me too. Like I was radiating that out and resonating those things around me, or at least noticing them, instead of sometimes at the gym, it can be a harsh environment for an empath, right? Particularly if it's competitive or, other people can be critical. And if you're in that mindset, you might attract that. But I did notice I was radiating this kindness and this compassion for myself. And I was noticing, I was hearing people say, oh, well, if we'll trade off with the machines, and they were working together, or, hey man, are you done with that? Like hearing kindness and realizing that it was in part because I was connecting to that resonance. So I was seeing it outside of me too. So I was participating in that manifestation. We got to admit your true feelings to yourself. Be honest with yourself. Only you know what it is that you truly desire. So really getting in touch with what it is you really want to create, right? Sometimes we let it happen to us and we take whatever we get, right? Because we're out of touch with our desire. And then someone comes in, or an opportunity comes in that reminds us of the desire, but it's not necessarily a manifestation of the desire because we weren't consciously investing in it, right? We weren't consciously creating it. So it's kind of like we're creating by default. And resonance, when we have resonance with things, we're often resonating based on wounding. So in relationship, that can be problematic because we start trauma bonding, right? Or creating codependent situations. So we want to be clear about what it is we really are seeking in relationship, and integrating the lover aspect internally, right? And already experiencing the love that we wish to share, right? And radiating that out. So be in touch with what you're really desiring. I also have drink more water. So this might also be about being stuck in an emotional pattern, right? And using water as sort of a mentor, right? As it flows, and being in the flow, right? Allowing emotions to flow. right? And we have windfall as the first card, and then we have drink more water. So we have the air element as well as the water element here. And they're both very fluid, right? So we might find that those are medicine for us, right? Maybe we get really fixated and really attached to an outcome or a person. And what can be helpful is using the air element to become a little more detached, take a little more of a bird's eye view, and allowing the water to teach us how to flow. Water can also be about reflecting, right? As the little boy is reflecting in the waters there, you can see his reflection. It can also be about reflecting on what it is we really desire. So maybe there is some inner reflecting we need to do, and maybe that's some writing we can do, some journaling around what it is I really desire. Right? That inner reflecting on the desires, writing them down so they come out of you and they become clear. And then also keep the faith. Keep the faith. As we do the affirmation work, keeping the faith means letting go. Don't be attached, right? It's not you who will fulfill this, so don't attach to it. Also let it go, right? Air element, detach. So this can be about working with those elements too. Let's go to the Alchemical Tarot Renewed by Robert M. Place, one of my tarot teachers, and see what tarot cards want to come up around lover. The lover archetype as we integrate. There's a little bit of nudity in these cards. Nothing too intense. Just a couple more cards. So this is the only card, well, there's a couple cards that have a little bit of nudity, but nothing too much. This is Justice. Justice, Libra energy. Does that resonate with you? Justice is about balance. It can be about karma. Right, our actions catching up with us. Fairness, right? What's fair in a situation? Could this also be about, could this be referring to what you're radiating out is what's coming back, right? Creating loving experiences in the world by radiating that vibration can bring that to us. It's also about balance and connection with boundaries, right? So that there's a balance in that experience for another to come into, right? And we can build trust with each other. If we are the ones, or if we're the party that's very excited about the connection and we're overcome with our passion for the other person, that we don't have boundaries, right? That we are no longer in touch with our needs. that puts the burden of those boundaries on the other person. And it's impossible then to have trust in that situation. So we want to have a balance of that. We want to come from a place of wholeness, right? We have the Nine of Pentacles here. In this card, it's the tree, the money tree, but it's traditionally a woman, right, alone in the card with her 9 pentacles, celebrating independence and financial independence and being on path and having it all together, right? Waiting for that 10th pentacle, that 10th pentacle of having it all, right? That card of having it all, the love and connection, the home, the children, whatever. So this is about independence. So there might be a time of independence as we ground ourselves in purpose, in our financial well-being, right, and independence, and explore options. Right? This could also be what the windfall is all about. All these people coming in, all these potential partners coming in, as we exercise this ability to build trust with other people and to discern what it is we really want, our true feelings. And then in those times of solitude and introspection, right? Because we will have those times as well. Following, knowing yourself well enough from those times of solitude. Those dark times where maybe we were in the basement, right? So we didn't have a lot of faith. We couldn't really see the path. We just kind of had to be there with our emotions and reflect. And that's kind of where we build foundations from. And we get in touch with our faith, right? Because faith is about trusting and believing even though we don't see signs. We don't see the signs, right? Maybe that's part of the manifestation work, is visualizing, right? Creating balance as we're in solitude, right? We're on the journey. Trusting guidance, right? As there's a little bird here, the Hermit, that can be about guidance, messengers, being in touch with the infinite, trusting, having faith, following the light. Trusting that a path has been cleared for us, right? There's footsteps already there. And just following one step at a time. We can't see that far ahead. That's why we call on our faith, right? That's why we work on emotional resonance in solitude. Balancing the masculine and feminine energies within, right? And maybe that's also why the Sun card came in. Maybe we need a little more masculine energy to create balance in the situation, to create some independence here. Confidence, right? And then creating inner union so that we can have union outside of ourselves, right? That inner state of union, being the love we wish to receive by creating inner connection. Amazing, right? The Two of Vessels in this deck, similar to the Two of Cups, the couple meeting, right? Different than the windfall, of potentials, right? Different than this, having all these options. One does clearly stand out, right? The chalice there. One does clearly stand out, but this destined meeting, right? That blossoms, this connection that blossoms and blooms in balance. Balance, right? We have at the bottom of the deck the 6 of vessels. This is about nurturing just the right amount, not overdoing it. Which, you know, integrating the lover can help us by not becoming obsessively passionate about another, right? By nurturing connections and partnerships. By nurturing connections and partnerships with temperance. Just enough, not too much, not too little. That's what this card represents. So not giving too much and not withholding, right? And already creating by radiating. Knowing that we are the source of the love that we perceive. So it's coming from us. That way we're not seeking it outside of ourselves. We can have that experience, that emotional experience of love now. We're not separate from it. And that's where the interconnection comes from, right? Having that interconnection. Let's go to the Crazy Sexy Love Notes card by Chris Carr to see. Oh, first, let me pull a crystal. Dragonfly. This is the Animal Totem Crystal cards by Healing Crystals. So we got Dragonfly. Does that have meaning for you? And Labradorite. Enlightenment, Dreamtime, Illusions. So maybe you're getting guidance in your dreams, in solitude, right? Do dragonflies have meaning for you? They can be very magical. The Hermit is seeking enlightenment, and we saw in these two figures that illumination embodied, right? Illumination, seeking enlightenment in solitude and radiating out can send the signal. And then what Labradorite can do is help us cut through delusions, how we're deluding ourselves, right? Get in touch with our true feelings, what we really want. What are those things that we think we should want, or how we think things should be, or how they should look, and how we're comparing ourselves to other people, and all the voices in our head. Can we get out of that? Seek the guidance and wisdom in our dreams, right? And perhaps intend on meeting that person that's destined or fated for us during dreams, so that there's more recognition, right, during that meeting. And maybe that's already begun. Maybe you're already having dreams about this person. And really cutting through illusion, those illusions, so we get in touch with the truth, our true feelings. Let's also pull an essential oil card from Lisa Powers' deck. See what essential oil wants to lend its aroma to this intuitive session about integrating the lover archetype, creating more love in our experience in a balanced way. Eucalyptus. Keyword is reset. The trigger statement is I am sick, and the true statement is I am alive. It is time to embrace a new way of being, one filled with health and the freedom to create a new reality. The freedom, right? The independence to create a new reality. A new reality of connection. Being that love that you wish to receive. Be that love, right? Radiate that out, right? It's coming from within you, cutting through those illusions, those false beliefs that have guided you and led you up until now that don't apply. They're not valid. Can we detach from those, right? Using the element of wind, and maybe that is about being outside in nature, allowing the wind to blow through. Can be very healing for empaths, particularly if we have an exacerbation of water, right? The wind element, air element can really help us detach from those heavy feelings. And then water can help us reflect with what we truly want, desire, right? That inner reflection, and also help us get into the flow, right? Get into the flow and have faith that we are creating that experience for ourselves. So one last card from the Crazy Sexy Love Note stack by Chris Carr about integrating the lover archetype. I love these cards because they're fun and playful and colorful. It's not too heavy, right? One card to pull it all together about that lover archetype that brings us great passion and devotion when it's integrated properly. Unbridled appreciation of someone or something without attachment. You are healing. You are healing. Healing happens in seasons. It can't be rushed or forced to fit a schedule. So often we curse the seeds that haven't taken root, failing to realize it's not their time. They need more water, sunlight, and care. Bullying ourselves blocks regeneration. Also, sometimes the healing we're focused on isn't the healing that's taking place. There's a much deeper healing going on. Be patient, dear one. You are healing. You're healing, right? Maybe there's a wound here that's creating this experience. And, you know, working on creating that inner connection and loving self, loving the self, giving ourselves the love that we're seeking outside of us. This aspect is healing, right? And we talked about maybe we're in the basement right now. You can't see that far ahead. Don't plan your future based on what's visible now, right? If we're in hermit mode, we can't see that far ahead. We can maybe see the next step or two. And that's why faith is being called on here, right? As we affirm the feeling state that we're actually seeking, which is love, as we integrate the lover, we're creating a new way of being where we see ourselves as whole and healthy. We don't need something outside of ourselves to be whole. And maybe we're writing out those affirmations, right? But the key here is keep the faith. Keep the faith. It's happening. You're healing. You're doing the work. Maybe where you're shining your lantern right now isn't the place that's actually where the healing's taking place, right? And just nurturing yourself just enough, right? Giving yourself that nurturing, loving energy is supporting you on this process by illuminating illuminating those things that are no longer working, or your deepest desires, right? So that we can handle them properly. And guidance in your dreams, right? Maybe working with some labradorite at night so that we can do some dream work here by manifesting the partner or tuning into their energy if it's a fated meeting, and cutting through any illusions, any delusions that we're still holding on to, okay? But just remember that you're healing, so be gentle with yourself. All right, I hope this was helpful. Have a beautiful week as we integrate the lover archetype. If you'd like your own reading or personal one-on-one session, that information will be in the description of this video. Thank you for liking the video and subscribing to the channel. Thank you for energy exchange donations. That really supports me continuing the work here. And I'm wishing you much love, and I will see you in the next video. Bye, empath.